Hello, chismosas y chismosos, and welcome back to Bay Area Housewife of True Crime, where I like to tell the stories of the real cucuys and lloronas of the world. I'm Audrey, a paralegal turned stay-at-home mom who loves true crime. The cases I cover are wild, topics may be triggering, viewer and listener discretion is advised. The people mentioned are innocent until proven guilty in court. With all that being said, grab your hot Cheetos, and let's get started on today's case. The 80s and 90s, there was a wave of child abduction cases in the Bay Area. The term stranger danger was introduced, and parents had to sit down and talk to their kids about stranger danger in the world. On November 19, 1983, Angela Jane Bouguet disappeared from Antioch, California. On June 3, 1988, Amber Jean Schwartz Garcia disappeared from Pinole, California. On November 19th of 1988, Michaela Joy Garrett was kidnapped from Hayward, California. On January 30th of 1989, Ilene Beth Misheloff disappeared from Dublin, California. And on December 27th, 1991, Amanda Nikki Campbell disappeared from Fairfield, California. A man named Timothy Binder had a tendency to meander around cemeteries and wooded areas in search of the missing girls. I've dedicated an episode on Timothy and all of the aforementioned cases. Timothy would drive around with a van with pictures of young girls both missing and accounted for. He had books on infanticide in his car. He would bring child P magazines to his job at the Social Security Administration, where he used his work computer to obtain the addresses of young girls and would send them money. Angela Bouguet's mother's ex-boyfriend and neighbor, Larry Christopher Graham, was ultimately convicted for her abduction, rape, and murder. Bay Area serial killer Curtis Dean Anderson confessed to abducting and murdering Amber Schwartz Garcia, but her body has never been found. Another Bay Area serial killer named David Mish was convicted for the murders of Margaret Ball, Jennifer Dewey, Michelle Xavier, and Michaela Garrett. Amanda Nikki Campbell, Ilene Misheloff, and the Amber Schwartz Garcia cases are still unresolved. The Misheloff twins, Eileen and Brian, were born on March 12, 1975 to Michael and Maddie Misheloff. They lived in Dublin, California, and Dublin is considered to be a very nice upper middle class neighborhood and statistically speaking on the safer side in comparison to other Bay Area cities. Mike was an engineer and Maddie worked in the coordination of human resources. The Misheloffs were your typical American family of busy kids. Eileen ice skated and played the flute, and the boys, Brian and their older brother Rob, were in Little League, soccer, and baseball. When adults asked their most favorite question of what you wanted to be when you grew up, Eileen would say pediatrician. Eileen started ice skating at the age of 4 and competed against Christy Yamaguchi, who would later win an Olympic gold medal. Eileen won various first place ribbons all over the Bay Area. At the time of her disappearance, Eileen was described as an assigned female with brown curly hair, brown eyes, beautiful freckles on her light complexion of her nose and cheeks. Eileen had braces on her teeth you could see when she smiled. Her ears were pierced, and she was last seen wearing a gray polo sweatshirt, a pink and gray skirt, and black Ked sneakers. She was carrying a dark blue backpack and her flute case. She had a lump on the left side of her left ankle from ice skating. Eileen was 13 years old and an 8th grader at Wells Middle School. The school waived her PE class because this queen was very athletic and spent various days and hours at the local ice skating rink called Iceland. Although now called Tri-Valley Ice, it is still standing today. Ilene Misheloff was last seen alive at 3 p.m. on January 30th, 1989. She was walking home from school on Amador Valley Boulevard in Dublin, California. Ilene's keys were later found near the entrance of John May Park, which was on the route she would normally take home. On this particular day, Ilene decided to take a shortcut, walking behind the Shamrock Shopping Center. At the time, the shopping center consisted of a furniture store called Sawmill and Gallagher's Pub. Ilene was looking forward to her ice skating lesson that afternoon. She left Wells Middle School on Penn Drive, walked west, crossing under the 680 freeway toward San Ramon Road. Then she would have crossed San Ramon Road and followed the creek near Nielsen Elementary School, exiting into Amarillo Street with a final turn into Alegre Drive. When Ilene would walk home from school, it was her routine to call her mom when she got home. On this day, as fate would have it, Maddie never got a call from her daughter, which she figured it was probably because Ilene went straight to the ice rink. Her skating coach would normally pick her up around 3:30. When Maddie got home from work at around 5 p.m. and found out Ilene had not made it to the ice skating practice when she picked her up at around 6:30 p.m., she knew something was wrong. It was normal for Ilene to walk home from school, get ready for ice skating practice, and one of her coaches would pick her up from her house and take her to the ice skating rink. It is still unknown why the coaches did not call her parents to notify them that she did not come out of her house when they picked her up that day. A few weeks later, Ilene's backpack was found in a creek behind the shopping center. As it was in an area that was already searched, police believe it was placed there. Although Timothy Bittner had been named as a person of interest in the cases of missing Bay Area girls such as Angela Bouguet, Amber Schwartz Garcia, Michaela Garrett, and now Ilene Misheloff, that did not stop him from showing up at Dublin to help search for Ilene on February 11, 1989. At this time, Timothy had been fired for the second time from the Social Security Administration, and he was working as a groundskeeper at the Oakland Housing Authority. He had clocked in, but his job required him to drive from one house to the other. Ilene's mom sadly passed away at the age of 71 due to cancer on April 11th of 2020. Ilene's dad, Mike, and her brothers still hope one day she is found. There is still a $95,000 reward for information leading to the resolution of her case. If she's still out there, Ilene would be 50 years old today. We've reached the end of today's episode of Bay Area Housewife of True Crime. Thank you so much for coming down the rabbit hole where I currently live. As always, I accept and respect your opinions. If you'd like a copy of my notes, have a case in mind you'd like me to cover, feel free to hit me up at yayareahousewife@gmail.com. I'll see you chismosas y chismosos in the next episode. Adios.